Tropical Storm Melissa already dumping heavy rain on parts of the Dominican Republic. Crews helping several families evacuate today in this neighborhood just outside Santo Domingo. Of course, that's on the southern coast that's getting that onshore flow. That included getting their pets to safety. Officials are urging residents of flood-prone areas, especially in the southern part of the DR, to seek higher ground. And this could be for days, because Melissa is going to be south of Haiti and Jamaica all the way through the weekend. It may not go near over Jamaica, its center, until Monday, Tuesday. So you're going to have that onshore flow into these high mountains for quite some time. And especially in southern southwestern Haiti, we're expecting floods and landslides and potentially catastrophic impacts there, even though the center is not going to make landfall there. Max winds at 65 on the intermediate advisory at 8 p.m., drifting northward at a couple of miles an hour. It is going to make that turn to the west, though, tomorrow. And we saw today a tropical storm that is considerably more organized than yesterday, because the wind shear has weakened. The low-level center and the mid-level rotation have become vertically aligned, and that's why it is poised to rapidly intensify over the next day or so. Likely to be a hurricane by tomorrow, but we're still going to have those far-flung bands coming into the Dominican Republic. Even into extreme western Puerto Rico, we could have some heavy thunderstorms tonight. And you can imagine, if this is a little farther north and a little farther to the west, why Haiti could be in some of these terribly heavy rain bands. And the terrain of these islands makes the effect of the rainfall so much worse, with the flooding and the landslides that are of a significant risk. So the slow motion and the days of heavy rain and wind are the big concern. We do have NOAA and Air Force planes out there right now, and the latest pass from the Air Force, where they went from southeast to northwest, they got winds in the 60-mile-an-hour range, so nothing yet to say that this is any stronger, but it appears to be only a matter of time before the strengthening begins. But it's so important that these planes are out there, because we can't see necessarily through the infrared imagery at night how strong the winds are in the interior. The NOAA plane also at flight level, not finding anything to bring those winds up yet. But that slow westward motion through tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday, and then the slow turn to the north into Tuesday. The tropical storm force winds are expected to arrive in eastern Jamaica tomorrow night into Sunday morning. So that means Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, maybe even into early Wednesday, you're going to be dealing with the storm. So we have tonight and tomorrow to get ready for this long duration water and wind event. The Hurricane Center forecast is a little more confident right now in terms of the center going near over Jamaica. We don't have any models really going toward Hispaniola anymore. And again, the slow motion is what makes this worse than any major hurricane threat that Jamaica has ever experienced. If we had major hurricane watch, that would be issued. I wish kind of that we did. The hurricane watch for southwestern Haiti is not for major hurricane conditions. And again, so important to be ready by the right time, by tomorrow morning, southwestern Haiti, tomorrow night into Sunday morning in Jamaica. Alex, the challenge here is you got to be done getting ready before these tropical storm conditions arrive, even though the worst of the storm might not be until Tuesday.
Exactly. And sadly, Melissa has already proven deadly, as 3 people were killed in flooding in Haiti. We could see dangerous flooding in Jamaica, as Dr. Nab just said, as well as mudslides, storm surge, and very strong wind. Reporter George Solis with NBC News has the latest on preparations from Kingston.
And this could be the literal calm before the storm. Just a few hours ago, some rain did begin to fall here in the Kingston area. It has since stopped, but again, it could be a precursor for what's to come as Tropical Storm Melissa again begins to change its track. Still moving very slowly and still very concerning for officials here on the ground, as well as residents outside of the property here that we're at. We're starting to see some of the sandbag placement here in anticipation of some of that flooding, because again, this storm is expected to bring some of that life-threatening flood and catastrophic flash flooding. And keep in mind, this is an area that's already been hit with days of rain ahead of this storm. So when you have some of the forecasted rain totals, you're looking at the potential for more mudslides. We actually stopped by a community, Port Royal, the old capital here, where some residents have always typically been reluctant to leave. That is still appearing to be the case, although officials are warning every resident here, everybody on this island, to take precaution. At the moment, airports do remain open, but that could very quickly change if a hurricane warning is issued. Again, if things continue to hold as they have been. The message from officials: stay hunkered down, grab all of your essentials. And on that note, we've actually seen some stores already running out of some supplies. So people definitely taking this storm seriously. And of course, everyone eagerly anticipating some of these next forecasts and some of the next watches here to see what Tropical Storm Melissa might do next. Back to you.
Very heavy rain indeed. One of the big threats, really probably the most major issue here at hand with Melissa. Right now, again, a tropical storm expected to be a hurricane this weekend. Rainfall to come. Parts of Jamaica, parts of Haiti could see 1.5 to 2 feet of rain. Would not be out of the question to see isolated higher totals. Sections of the southern Dominican Republic could be looking at 12 to 18 inches, 1 foot to 1.5 feet. Cuba, half foot of rain, a possibility. Now, what we know is it's prolonged heavy rain that we're up against. So the risk of significant flash flooding and landslides present across a lot of those islands. Preparations to protect life and property should be complete today as things really start to go downhill weather-wise over the weekend. It's a slow-moving storm. However, when the intensification happens, we think it's going to happen very, very quickly. So slow moving and very powerful, not a good combo. Rainfall to come. Again, there are your totals. So southern parts of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Cuba, southeast Jamaica would be the highest totals. But we expect all of the island of Jamaica to be at least in that 5 to 8 inch range for rainfall. So very, very heavy rain all across the island. Jamaica radar over the last 6 hours has shown some rain showers generally moving in from the north. Of course, as the storm gets closer, more powerful, we could be seeing very, very heavy torrential downpours. And the terrain in Jamaica not going to do us favors. We've got a population just under 3 million people there in Jamaica. Kingston, the capital, over here on the southeast side. Unfortunately, that's the part of the island that could see some of the most significant effects. 146 miles long. Blue Mountain Peak sits at 7,400 feet. That terrain that we've got across, especially the eastern part of the island, is going to help really wring out the moisture. So unfortunately, in situations where you've got terrain, the terrain increases the rainfall we see, and it also increases the runoff. So you've got all that water moving down slope to those lower areas. And it's when we've got terrain flash flooding that we oftentimes see those scenes of rushing water, really destructive flash flooding. Through Wednesday, these are the totals. Again, those areas where you can see the terrain, we could see 18 to 24 inches of rain. Mandeville to Kingston, plenty of 12 to 18 inch totals. So there are going to be a lot of parts of Jamaica that see over 1 foot of rain by the time all is said and done. Very similar setup here in southern Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Notice all the terrain here. Well, with southerly flow, you're going to see that orographic uplift. So as air gets forced up the mountains, we'll wring out the moisture. And it is those areas in those terrain locations that will see the highest totals. And unfortunately, again, see the highest risk of landslides, mudslides, and flash flooding that is destructive. So Dr. Nab, really bad setup here with, again, the slow-moving storm. It's just going to keep the rain coming down.
And so when you add to the slow motion, the expected rapid intensification, we have to talk about water impacts that are not just rain-induced flooding, because in some of the same areas, say Kingston, for example, would be at risk of this. It could not only be the rain-induced flooding that could, result from 1 to 2 to locally 3 feet of rain, but landslides and an extreme storm surge from a major hurricane. On top of that, major hurricane force winds. So that's what makes the slow motion that isn't going to get a whole lot faster than the 2 miles an hour we've seen the last couple of days, maybe 3 or 4 miles an hour. That's what makes this unlike any other major hurricane event we've ever had in Jamaica. Most hurricanes that have affected Jamaica in the past, most majors, have been moving across the Caribbean. This is going to be moving slower than any major hurricane I can ever find in Jamaica's history, because it's going to only go 3 or 4 miles an hour between tomorrow and Monday. And as it turns northward, after rapidly intensifying the next 2 to 3 days, turns northward, possibly peaking out as a Category 5, and then moving slowly nearer over Jamaica Monday into Tuesday. So you got to be ready by tomorrow night, because Sunday the weather could deteriorate, and then you might have to be hunkered down for 3 or 4 days, and then the aftermath. That's how seriously we have to take these preparations. And that system in the Northeast Pacific and this one over the Southern Plains, those are the systems that we have to wait for to arrive to take Melissa out of the Caribbean. Between now and then, just a narrow ridge causing it to move slowly westward. Meanwhile, upper level winds are weakening. You have upper level high pressure, weak wind shear, slow motion. And then when that plain system arrives, all it does is turn it northward slowly over Jamaica. Then our Pacific system arrives and takes it over eastern Cuba. But that's not till almost a week from now.